Before translations, you kind of knew where it was going to end up. Reflection, you knew it was going to be the opposite direction, either left to right or up to down. But rotations, most of us, and I say most because there are a few of you that can spatially do it, but most of us, seeing where that's going to wind up is a lot more difficult for our brains without physically making that rotation happen. So that's when I say I'm going to make your brains work a little bit today. A rotation is a transformation in which a figure is rotated or turned about a fixed point. The center of rotation is that fixed point. Those of you who play basketball, it's like your pivot foot. Whether it's your heel or your toes, that's your center of rotation, and you can pivot around that. As soon as you move your toes, though, now you've screwed up the rotation. So you're always pivoting around a specific point. For us, we are just going to pivot, around the origin. Everything is going to be centered around the origin. A rotation does not change the size or shape of the figure. So the pre-image and the image are congruent. Same size, same shape. This next line is the important piece here. Rotations are described in their degrees, 90, 180, and 270, but then they're also described as clockwise or counterclockwise. So 90 is like a quarter turn, 180 is a half turn, and 270 is 3/4. Why don't I list 360? It'd be right back to where you started at. Very good. There'd be no sense in rotating it that amount. Clockwise is just like the numbers on a clock. Okay? You start at the top and your numbers count as you go to the right. So when we work clockwise, it means that we are going to take the top of our paper and turn it towards Mrs. Hoosier's room. Clockwise, we take the top of our paper and turn it towards her room. Counterclockwise is the opposite direction, the opposite way the numbers on a clock work. That means you will take the top of your paper and move it towards the left, or in other words, towards Miss Sellen's room. And I always say take the top of your paper. Okay, so that's your 0. If you're rotating at 90 degrees, you would rotate it a quarter turn to the right towards Mrs. Hoosier's room. Or you take the top of your paper and you go to the left a quarter turn. There's many ways to teach this. I teach that you physically move your paper. It is the only way my brain works. It is the most successful way that I have gotten the majority of my students to be able to do it. So we will physically be moving our papers in just a minute. Triangle DEF has the following vertices. Graph the figure in its image after a clockwise rotation of 90 degrees about the origin. So let's start here. Everybody just plot D, E, and F and label them correctly. Okay, I obviously can't turn my computer screen, but I'm going to show you with this paper here. Okay, so put your paper flat on your desk with the top straight in front of you. I know a lot of times you turn it to right so that it's a little bit of an angle, just like so. Okay, we need to go 90 degrees, which is 1/4 turn, and we need to go clockwise. Clockwise tells us that we are going towards Hoosier's room. So take the top of your paper and turn it 1/4 turn towards Hoosier's room. The name should be on the right-hand side, yes? Now we're going to give ourselves directions. Close your eyes for a minute. Open them back up. You have a brand new graph in front of you. You know nothing about it other than these points were plotted here. And I want you to give me directions as to how to get to these points with your paper like this, okay? So if your paper is laying like so, somebody tell me the directions of how to get to D by the raise of a hand. Brandon.
Once you go on the x-axis,
Yep.
go over 4 and then go up. Oh, no.
Exactly how it is. Don't try to rethink in your brain. Don't let your brain talk you out of this.
Okay.
the way this is laying, give me directions. If I was at 0, 0, how do I get to the point D that you have on your paper?
Go left 4, and then you go up.
You should go right 4. Go exactly how it's laying on your paper. Okay? Put your paper back to normal. Go right 4 and up 4. Put a dot. What are you going to label that? D prime. Take your paper, rotate it 90 degrees clockwise towards Hoosier's room. From 0, 0, pretending that this is the graph that was given to you. How do you get to E, Tiffany? Right 2, up 1. Put your paper back to normal. Go right 2, up 1, and we would label that E prime. Rotate your paper 90 degrees clockwise towards Hoosier's room. Carly, how do you get to F? Right 1, up 3. Put your paper back to normal. Right 1, up 3. Calls you F prime. Call it F prime. You have rotated your triangle 90 degrees to the right. You always know if you've gone the correct place. Okay, clockwise, it should be end up in the quadrant to its right. I started with the black triangle that I drew there and ended up with the red one with the primes, right? It came towards Hoosier's room, yes? Yeah. Don't try to talk your brain into figuring out a rule. Rotate your paper and work with what's exactly in front of you. Now we got to write those points. Take a minute. The points that you've plotted now, tell me where they're located. Tell me where D prime, E prime, and F prime are located. D prime is located at 4, 4, E prime 2, 1, and F prime 1, 3. Good job. Let's try it again. Go to B. Don't worry about our rotation, just plot these original points, M, N, P, and Q. It's like a trapezoid, right? Okay. All right, so we got to figure out our direction and degrees. Counterclockwise means we're going to the left, which is going to be towards Sellen's room. And 270, how many turns is 270? 3, okay? Straight in front of you. Turn 1, there's 90. Turn 2, there's 180. Turn 3, 270. The name should be on the right-hand side of your page, correct? Okay, now pretending this is a brand new graph, I need to know the directions as to how to get to M. Somebody raise your hand. Addie, how do I get to M?
Right 1 down.
M. Go M. I think you gave me Q. Well, we can go Q. Let's go Q. Right 1, down 2. Okay, rotate your paper back. Right 1, down 2. Just make sure you label it Q prime. Okay, we got to get back to where we were now. Ready? Towards Sellen, there's 90. Towards Sellen, there's 180. Towards Sellen, there's 270. Somebody give me M. Who wants to give me M? Athyan?
Right 5 down 2.
Right 5, down 2. 100%. Go back to normal. Right 5, down 2. That should be labeled M prime. Anybody tired of rotating it 3 times?
Yeah.
Is there a shortcut?
No.
Jack.
You can rotate it once the other way
Why?
because it'll get to the same place.
Why? Why does it work, Ethan?
Because it's over 180 degrees and it would just be that one.
Why? Carly?
It's 270 degrees with the counterclockwise, the 90 degrees on clockwise, because, that was where the quadrant,
Why?
why not?
Well,
If you add 90 to 270, you get 60.
perfect. That's what I was looking for, right? Whether you go 270 this way or 90 to the other direction, 270 plus 90 is 360. It's going to get us the same location, right? Okay, that's why it works. You guys all, you're on the right track. It works, Miss Hoff, but your explanation why is because of the 360. So instead of going 270 counter, you really could go 90 clockwise. Gets you the same spot. Okay, what are my directions to get to N, Tiffany?
Right 4 down 6.
Okay, go back to the normal. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. N prime. And who wants P? Can you tell me my directions to get to P? Rhiannon?
Isn't it, right 1 and down 6?
Perfect. Right 1 and down 6. P prime. I always like to trace that and make sure that I have the same little trapezoid looking shape that I started with. Take a minute to write down those coordinates for me. Give me the coordinates of M prime, N prime, P prime, and Q prime. I got M prime to be 5, -2, N prime to get 4, -6, and P prime to be 1, -6, Q prime 1, -2. Carly, why is there no O? Looks like a 0, also looks like the origin. Usually they use O for origin. Yes, it absolutely drives me insane too, but I understand why they do it. Okay, we're going to skip C. I want you guys to do D, start to finish on your own. And in just a minute, I'll check in with you to make sure that you've worked through this process correctly. Start to finish on your own for D, and then I'll check in with you here. You're not gonna like this one either, Carly. Where you at for M prime?
-4 1.
-4 1. N prime?
-1 3.
And P prime?
-3 5.
-3 5. You almost have to talk yourself out of thinking about it, don't you? Okay. Don't let my brain try to make a trickery of this. Rotate your paper and plot your points. Questions at all? Give the rest of the hour to work. Don't forget to submit this by 8 a.m. on Monday for you.